Picture this. You're crammed like a sardine on public transportation during the dreaded rush hour. You're trapped in a sea of people, and suddenly you're hit by the unmistakable scent of sweat from the person right in front of you. Ever been there? It's a situation that can make your skin crawl and test your patience, especially when the individual responsible for this olfactory assault turns out to be an incessant, obnoxious phone talker. And if someone dares to address the issue, they get a rude snapback, leaving you in disbelief. But here's the kicker. We've all been there. Dealing with rude and annoying people is an everyday struggle, whether on buses, trains, in the streets, at work, or even in the comfort of your own home. These troublesome individuals come from every corner of the world and all walks of life. Some appear to be blissfully unaware of basic social etiquette, while others choose to disregard it entirely. So, how do we deal with such challenging characters? Enter the ancient Stoic philosophers, with their timeless wisdom and insights. They tackled the art of handling difficult people, from treacherous relatives to rude bathhouse goers who lacked basic manners and cleanliness. So, whether you're facing foul-smelling passengers, pesky co-workers, or even narcissistic individuals, this video delves deep into the issue of managing relationships with difficult folks. And yes, that includes those who could use a little lesson in personal hygiene. Ever wonder what the Stoics had to say about dealing with challenging people? Well, let's rewind a bit. After being exiled from Rome, Epictetus made his way to Nicopolis, Greece, where he established a philosophy school. There, he had the opportunity to mentor a promising young man named Arrian, who would go on to preserve Epictetus's invaluable teachings for future generations. One core aspect of Roman life was bathing, and public baths played a central role in the empire. These places weren't just about cleanliness. They were hubs for socializing, mingling, and even garnering public support for politicians. Even the wealthy who had private baths were drawn to the public bathhouses for their social dynamics. However, as you can imagine, this diverse mix of patrons often led to some less than desirable behaviors. The bottom line? Challenging figures have always been around. So, how did Epictetus suggest dealing with these troublesome individuals of his time? He encouraged his students to ponder the essence of their daily activities and be prepared for adverse situations when visiting places like the public bath. By understanding and accepting the conditions of the environment, they wouldn't be caught off guard when disruptions occurred. Epictetus advised that our focus shouldn't solely be on the act itself, like bathing, but on maintaining composure and emotional control amidst adversities. It's about focusing on what's within our control. Now, how does this all relate to using public transportation today? Think of it as a two-part journey. Before you leave home, reflect on the nature of the public transport experience. During the trip, focus on maintaining inner peace and serenity. Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Roman emperor and a follower of Stoicism, had to interact daily with a wide variety of individuals, including the most challenging ones. He faced arrogance, demands, injustice, and dishonesty. As the most influential figure of his time, his decisions and leadership were crucial for the empire. So, when dealing with difficult people, Marcus Aurelius turned to his personal diary to reflect on various aspects of life and human behavior. His reflections covered resilience in hard times, the purpose of life, human nature, and of course the challenge of dealing with difficult people. In the mentioned example, Marcus Aurelius provides a Stoic perspective on handling something as everyday and unpleasant as body odors. Instead of getting annoyed, he advises us to use reason and empathy to understand the situation and, if possible, help the other person become aware of the problem. This approach is practical and grounded, aligning with Stoic teachings that encourage us to focus on what we can control, our reactions and actions, and accept or empathize with what we cannot control, others' behavior. When it comes to dealing with unpleasant behaviors from close people, like parents, Epictetus's teachings are invaluable. He suggests looking at challenging situations from a different angle, seeking a handle we can carry. This means finding a perspective that allows us to handle the situation in a healthier and more constructive way. However, there are situations where a person's toxicity makes the relationship unsustainable, even when trying to focus on the brighter side. In such cases, setting clear boundaries or distancing yourself may be necessary to preserve your well-being. The Stoics deeply valued inner tranquility and wisdom and recognized that, in certain situations, the wisest action might be to protect oneself from negative influences. Stoic teachings don't encourage passivity or accepting mistreatment without question. Instead, they emphasize recognizing our own agency and choosing how to respond to situations. Regarding seeking revenge, the Stoic perspective you mentioned is profound. Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our control, which includes our actions and reactions. Seeking revenge ultimately hurts us more than the person we aim to punish. It's an act of self-sabotage that takes us away from the path of virtue and wisdom. Instead of seeking revenge, Stoics encourage us to practice forgiveness, not necessarily because the other person deserves it, but because we deserve peace. The Stoic philosophy empowers us to respond with compassion, understanding, and healthy detachment when necessary. We set firm boundaries to protect ourselves but maintain our inner peace and integrity. When dealing with challenging individuals, the Stoic perspective reminds us that we can only be harmed by our own judgments and reactions, not by the actions of others. This empowers us to choose how we respond to any situation, no matter how challenging it may be. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with our own nature and principles, rather than being driven by the desire for approval or fear of rejection. This is crucial when dealing with narcissistic or toxic individuals, as Stoics would remind us that another person's opinion of us does not define our worth. The practice of distinguishing between what we can and cannot control is especially useful here. Instead of trying to change the difficult person or seek revenge, which is outside of our control and will likely result in further frustration, we can choose how we respond and interact with them. We can set healthy boundaries, protect our inner peace, and decide when and how to engage or disengage. Another relevant Stoic concept is amor fati, or love of fati, which involves embracing everything that happens in our lives, including challenges and difficult people, as opportunities to practice virtue and grow. Instead of wishing things were different, Stoics encourage us to accept and embrace reality as it is. Lastly, Stoics remind us of the impermanence of all things, including challenging situations and relationships. This perspective can help us maintain a balanced view and not get lost in resentments or desires for revenge. Instead, we can choose to focus on the present, practice gratitude, and seek to live in accordance with our values, regardless of external circumstances or the behavior of others. I hope that this video provides you with the wisdom to deal with challenging individuals. Do make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified when I release a new video.